Hey, how's it going? I'm IlaGolden and welcome to Ila Reads. Echoe was running a little behind. Piccolo had been really dragging her feet about going to school, and nothing Echoe did would encourage her to move any faster. By the time she made it to the theatre's foyer, everyone else had disappeared into the practice theatre, or at least that's what Echoe initially thought. For a few long seconds, her own panic about being late almost caused her to miss the sight of Jet and Sonata together. She only caught a brief glimpse of them, barely enough to probably register their faces, but there was something about the way they were acting which made her think they were fighting about something. For a moment her mind went over the weird looks her sister had shot in his direction the day before. What was the history between them? Was Jet one of the boys Sonata had rejected in the past? Her sister had been born beautiful and had spent her whole life with boys trying their luck with her. She always refused, and this usually led to more than a little animosity between her and them. If Sonata had a type, it had to be ultra-specific, because she couldn't see why else her sister would be holding out so much. Even if she shared Alonso's sensibilities about marrying within your own breed, Echoe knew there had been a few nymphs on her potential suitors lists. And it wasn't even as though Alonso discouraged her from relationships either. As far as he was concerned, the right showbiz coupling could only raise her profile. But still, she remained stubbornly single, like a child who only had control over one thing. The thought instantly struck Echoe like some kind of blindingly obvious answer. Under Alonso's control, she hadn't had much freedom, so maybe this was just her way of expressing herself. And even if that wasn't completely the right answer, it was still Sonata's life, and her choice who she did or did not date. If Jet mentioned anything about it later, she would give him her sympathies, of course, but she really didn't want to know if she didn't have to. It prevented her from believing there might be a small chance he was interested in her instead. Yes, she knew it was the wish fulfillment of every single murmur to have some tall, dark, and handsome younger man interested in them. But what was life without a little wish fulfillment? Echo, darling, you're here at last. Lilith almost pounced on her the second she entered. I'm not that late, am I? She went to check her watch. No, of course not. I just need your help picking the right one. Without clarifying what she meant, Lilith began pushing Echo's chair towards the far left side of the room. They're both so good, excellent in fact, but then I wouldn't have expected any less. The problem is they're both too good, and I'm finding it near impossible to pick between them. I'm hoping your more critical eye will be able to make the decision for me. I'll do my best. Echo smiled as she spotted Still. He's really got something for you already. I've never known him to turn anything around so fast. I know, I too was surprised, but I guess the masterpiece I'm creating must have been especially inspiring for him. By this time, they arrived at Still, and he gave a small half nod of acknowledgement in Echo's direction. He then held out his workbook in order to display the two concept posters for her. The second she saw them, she knew it wasn't the play which had inspired him, and a part of her felt as though she was seeing a small fraction inside his closed off and personal little world. I love the flame effect on both of them. It's so unique. She tried to phrase it in a way which wouldn't embarrass him. I know! Liz jumped on her words. But I can't decide whether I prefer the way it bristles around the whole picture or just around the words. And then there's the way he has Sunny and Lon. I don't know if I prefer the shadowy central positions or this more circular one, she indicated. I know it's an ask still, she lifted her gaze towards him. Would you indulge me with a little mix and match on these two to help me decide? They don't have to be in colour, just... He shrugged, gave a slight nod, and moved off towards one of the seats in the front of the stage, where he quickly set up his sketch pad. Beside her, Lilith gave a heavy sigh. I feel bad putting things upon him like this, but he never complains, and his work is always of such a high standard. I'm not sure I would take things so calmly if I were in his position. I think if he minded, he would let people know. Echo shot her a reassuring look. Besides, I think in this case it gives him an excuse to stick around here a little longer. She watched as a loud and now familiar squeal of excitement caused Still's gaze to shift to the other end of the practice theatre. I swear that girl's going to become a fire hazard, Liv tutted, seemingly oblivious to the connection Echo had made. She's just young and excitable, she shrugged. And I like her. She's fun. You say that like you're old. Liv narrowed her gaze on her for a moment. You're not even 30 yet, darling. Give it another 10 years or so, and then come talk to me about these young 21-year-olds. Now you go join the rest of the crew. I want to have you airborne for a run through the opening number in 15. Okay, Lilith, I'll let them know. With that, Echoe rolled her way towards May and Zanny. Almost as soon as she went to greet them, Jet appeared. It was clear from the more than forlorn look on his face he was having a bad morning, or had just had a bad fight, if Echoe was right about the exchange between him and Sonata. Still, she'd made a promise to herself not to pry, and she was determined to keep it. Lith wants us airborne for the opening number in 15. Echoe smiled around at them, hoping her words would be enough to distract May from noticing Jet's less than sunny disposition. She really thinks we're ready to have other people below us on stage? The Fire Pixie's eyes went wide. That is so awesome! She bristled with pain. Oh, but now I'm not sure I remember what the arm movements at the opening number is supposed to be. I mean, it's going to be different from having to do them up in the air to having to do them still on the ground. I'm not sure I'm ready for this. What if I mess up? I'm going to be so much more obvious up there than I am down here with dancers distracting Miss Triumph. What if I mess up so bad she no longer wants me to play ribbon? I know it's not the role I wanted to play originally, but there's no way I don't want to play it now. You don't need to worry, May. Zanny placed her hand over her mouth. We went over the hand movements last night, remember? And I know you. You could probably do them in your sleep, so don't worry so much about it. You're going to be fine. We all will. So let's just get our harnesses on and be ready for when Miss Triumph needs us, okay? Okay, she nodded. You always know exactly what I need you to say, Zanny. That's exactly why you're my bestest friend in the whole entire world. I would hope it was for a few more reasons than just that. He playfully narrowed his gaze on her for a moment. But trust me, May. I know exactly how you feel. As the two of them were speaking, Jet passed Echoe her harness before starting to get into his own. There was a strangely glum and sour look on his face, and it was almost impossible for Echoe not to ask him what had happened between him and her sister. Are you okay? She tried to make the words sound as casual and natural as possible. Yeah, I'm fine. His face took on almost a scowl. I've just had one of those mornings. I know what that's like. She shot him a sympathetic look. So do you think you're ready for this? He looked almost confused for a moment. Being up there with people under us, I mean, she clarified. I think I'll be all right remembering the movements and singing and stuff, but I'm a little nervous about actually having other people under us. Why? Afraid something will go wrong with the harness and you'll fall on someone? No, she half frowned back at him. Well, maybe just a little now you've said it. I was more worried about people looking up at us. I know I'm wearing trousers, so they can't exactly look at my skirt, as it were, but I'm not used to people being able to see my behind. Then add to that my legs just dangling there. I can only imagine the horror the people below me will feel. I wouldn't be so sensitive about things like that if I were you. He appeared to half smile at her. I doubt any of us are going to look good to the people below us, so don't worry about it. Besides, from what I've seen of it, you have a very nice behind. Thanks. She gave a nervous laugh, unsure if he was flirting with her or not. I'll try not to worry so much about it, but aren't you nervous about this at all? Heights don't really bother me that much, he shrugged. Do you need any help getting into it? He indicated towards the harness. No, I'll be okay. Her smile relaxed just a little. But you'd rather I wasn't watching whilst you did it? He almost rolled his eyes. Yeah, she frowned. How did you know I was going to say that? Because you... He hesitated, then gave a nervous cough. Because you strike me as the highly independent type. Despite the soft warmth of the smile he was wearing, something about the line sounded like a lie. You don't like people to see you struggling. Well, I guess that's true. She rolled her chair back from him just a little. I also think it would make you blush if I were watching. Jet delivered the line in such a soft and flirtatious way, Echoe wasn't totally sure she'd heard him correctly. What? It doesn't matter. He turned. Okay. She shot him a weak smile. I'm going to get into this now. I'll see you in a bit. Sure, whatever, Echoe. Just be back before Miss Triumph needs us, okay? Singing in a harness was neither as easy as she hoped or as difficult as she feared. It was one of those nice in-betweens, which she could adapt to in a relatively straightforward manner. Liz had made them go over the opening number until she was sure everyone was comfortable with the new harness situation. She then wanted to run through the number into the opening scene so the first of the onstage chair landings could be made. So as the opening number drew to a close and the stage cleared of the choral members, Echoe watched her yellow chair whiz smoothly into position below her. Her descent began as the music faded and Sonata made her way towards her own mark for that scene. There was something strangely stiff about the way her sister was walking, but Echoe didn't really need or want to think about it. After all, she had to concentrate on controlling her legs and landing the chair. The chair was a little off in position, but not enough to cause any real problem. She quickly piled herself into a proper sitting position as a half-finished long mock desk whizzed across the stage, forming a workstation for her and the other members of the crew. No, you've got this wrong. This can't be right. It isn't my time. Sonata emoted each word with just the right amount of pathos. Isn't your time? Echo laughed. You hear that, lads? The newbie thinks it isn't her time. If I had a thread of yarn every time I heard somebody say that, I'd be swimming in jumpers about now. No, but Look, newbie, everybody thinks somebody made some mistake when they first get here. But trust me, they don't. Before Echo could finish what she was saying, some weird force knocked her chair hard, toppling her to the ground and jarring her back in the process. For a few long moments she was too winded and stunned to take in what had just happened, never mind speak. So when Lilith's anxious face appeared over her, all she could really do was stare. Echo, darling, are you all right? Yeah, she eventually blinked. I think so. What happened? I don't know, she shook her head, but I think she hesitated. She felt as though someone had telekinetically pushed her chair, and a part of her really wanted to say it, but she held back. Because, for a start, she didn't have a clue who would want to do such a thing. Not really. I mean, it was possible it could have been Twigs. She was the one who was supposed to be controlling everyone's chairs, after all. But apart from being somewhat creepy, Twigs really didn't have a motive. Zanny also had the capability, but not the motive. That left her with Sonata as the only other nearby Stretch user capable of pulling off a stunt like that. Sure, she wasn't the greatest with her telekinetic powers, but at that range she didn't need to be. And of everyone around her, Sonata was the only one with a motive. Her own train of thoughts made her uncomfortable. Wasn't she determined to improve the relationship between them? Didn't that start with trust? You think what? Lilith prompted, interrupting her train of thoughts. I think I might have unbalanced the chair when I adjusted my position, she smiled weakly. Maybe I should have all the chairs looked at, she pulled a thoughtful face. If they're so easy to unbalance, we may need to replace them with something a little sturdier. Sounds like a good idea to me, she swallowed hard. Anyway, maybe we should try that scene again, from the top? No, I think you should take some time to recover from your fall. Twigs! She turned her gaze towards her assistant. Fetch Echo's chair, and then tell everyone we're taking a lunch break. We'll pick up from where we left off after. Yes, Miss Triumph. Twig's face was filled with a strangely anxious look. Right away. When I saw your chair fall like that, I swear it was like happening in slow motion. May bristled as their little group pulled varying lunches out of their bags. Are you sure you're okay? I think my back might be a little bruised. She flashed her a reassuring smile. But other than that, was it really an imbalanced chair? Zanny eyed her up suspiciously. If that's what Echo says it was, then that's what it was. Jet cut in before she could answer. Why would she lie about something like that? I don't know. It's just... Well, from where I was sitting, it looked more like she was pushed. But there was no one around to push her, silly, May laughed. So how could she have been pushed? Just because there was no one putting their hands on her and forcing her over doesn't mean she wasn't pushed. Zanny's face took on a more thoughtful expression. There are more than a few Stretch users around, remember? So, Echo, was it just an imbalanced fall, or... I don't know. Echo lowered her gaze. I know I felt something before the chair tipped over, but, I mean, I wouldn't want to say for sure. But who would want to push you? May's whole being became as small as her voice. That's just the thing. I don't think anybody would. She hoped the lie sounded convincing. What about Sonata? Jet narrowed his gaze. Wouldn't she do something like this? No. Despite her own uncertainties, Echo was firm. She might be a spoilt brat, but even she wouldn't take things this far. Okay, I believe you. He nonchalantly took a bite out of his sandwich. But if anything like this happens again, why would anything like this happen again? I don't know, I'm just saying none of us wants to see you get hurt, Echo. So if anything like this happens again, just let us know. We'll all do our best to protect you. Right, guys? He glanced round at the other two. Of course! May's whole being pumped back up again. You're our friend, Echo. We don't want anything bad to happen to you, ever. I know, she smiled. What about you, Zanny? She halved up from him. You feel the same way we do, right? Of course I do. There was an odd frown on Zanny's face, which almost appeared directed at Jet. Yay! She bristled with flames for a moment. It's like we really are the crew. Are you okay, Zanny? Echo studied him for a moment. I'm fine. I was just thinking about who it might have been. You're still assuming it was someone, she sighed. It probably wasn't. The feeling I think I might have felt could have just been in my own head, you know? Yeah, I know. And hey, maybe I'm just accident prone, she laughed. I mean, remember the sandbag? Yeah, I do, and I'm starting to wonder if that really was an accident. Of course it was an accident. What else would it have been? I'm not sure, Echo. I'm just starting to get this feeling like... Zanny shook his head. No, sorry, I guess it doesn't matter. It's just all in my head. You're right, 2 accidents don't prove anything. If something else happens... I'm sure nothing else will happen, Zanny. Echo did her best to laugh. Theatres are one of the most accident-prone places I know. I was just unfortunate 2 of them happened to me, that's all. You know, she's probably got a point there. Jet shrugged, his tones strangely immutable. We could just be blowing this all out of proportion. So we should probably stop talking about this now. We don't want people getting the wrong impression. The only impression I'm getting about this conversation is that we're all worried about Echo. May blinked at him. And last I checked, there was nothing wrong with that. Enjoyed what you've heard so far? Please consider subscribing to find out when the next part's being released. Thanks for watching. See ya!